so what's up, guys? It's your boy. Still look right to you?
Yeah.
I don't know where we start now, because...
I can ask you something.
Oh, you can ask me something?
Yeah.
Okay. Today we're here in the studio with, can you step in real quick, Ian? So we got Ian here, he's gonna be shooting some extra BTS for us. We're gonna be testing out some lighting. I have our friend Maddie here, she'll be in front of the camera in just a sec. Really just experimenting. I think it's important to trying to get your 10,000 hours and become an expert at your craft. That's what we're doing today. I have a couple different light setups that I wanna test and tweak and see how they work in different environments, and hopefully it'll be things that then I bring to my regular work.
So why do you think it's important to have a light test day?
So I think sometimes, you learn a lot on the job, and I think that's really important. But, there's a lot of pressure, as you know, when you're modeling and stuff, like there might be money involved, there might be a client, and so it's harder and it's higher stakes to experiment in those places. So I think obviously you learn from all of that, you get better at things, you can plan better for next time, but taking a day just for that, I think it just makes it easier for everybody. It makes it easier for yourself because you're not worried about having to fulfill a certain assignment, you're just experimenting. And then that way you can actually see the minute details. Because sometimes, I'm sure you know, if someone's doing lighting on you and they keep, let's shift it just a little bit more and just a little bit more. You kill the flow of the shoot sort of. Mm-hmm. So I think when you have time for doing this, hopefully, and you're helping today, no one gets mad mm-hmm. and you're just trying stuff. And then I think too, just for the creative perspective, sometimes you have to give yourself room to play, I think, and do stuff that's doesn't have a clear end goal besides just doing it. Again, when you're doing it for a client, let's say you have a specific purpose that everything has to go towards. But a lot of times the best ideas come from just playing around or just having time to be open and receptive. But the idea of you have to be open to trying different things, right? Mm-hmm. And when there's a certain thing that has to be accomplished, it's harder to do that sometimes. And so when you take time that's dedicated to just experiment, you might be surprised by what you do. Because we did a shot earlier where you had the light meter we're using it as a prop, as a walkie-talkie, whatever. Mm-hmm. You probably wouldn't do that on set usually, you know? And that's fun. I think we got some cool shots. We'll see what they look like. We'll have to blur out, like I said, the companies so they don't get free marketing for you holding that. I think a lot of things happen when you play.
And what is your process going into preparing for the lighting test? Are you seeking out certain things that you want to experiment with, or do you just come in here with a completely clean slate and you're willing to try anything?
I don't think I do anything with a completely clean slate. I always have a plan, and I think for this, I literally, on Instagram you can save collections. Mm-hmm. So I have tried this light.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So pretty much I just went through what have I saved there and which are ones that I wanted to try. And then the stuff that is spontaneous was the stuff the light meter, like that. So I was open to seeing what you're wearing, what we could do, how we were feeling, and that stuff I'm open. And I think that's how I work in general, where it's very planned but never rigid. Mm-hmm. Always flexible. I think of it like a sandbox. You know? Yeah. So every shoot I feel I'm developing a sandbox for us to play with the mood board, with the lighting. So that's just a plan. But within that, anything goes as long as it's within that, Mm-hmm. It's structured play, if that makes sense. Yeah. So that's what I did today. Yeah, I planned for some lighting setups, and then what we got would be whatever we get. But I at least had an outline, okay, these are the steps I want to go to.
Yeah. Would you say that what we got today was successful so far?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
As far as lighting goes.
100%. I think I think it has been, because it looks like what we got, and then my goal was to try to learn again my way around that setup and what I could use it for, because obviously people use it for very different things. It's successful because it looks like what we planned for, but I'm also learning ways to incorporate it. And then I'll do, because I'm a nerd like this, but I'll write down a little reflection after and see what I learned from it, what I expected, and that type of thing, and then hopefully what I could use it for.
I think it's great that you're willing to obviously put in your 10,000 hours and take a day to improve your craft. So I want to get your opinion on this. As an artist, it's obviously important to have lighting test days or just days where you can be creative and have no pressure and explore new ideas. Would you say that it's better to play on your strengths as an artist or to strengthen your weaknesses?
I think that I like the idea of rounding yourself out, you know, as a person. And I think when I was younger, I used to really be into the idea of like a Renaissance man. Like when I first heard about this in school, I'm like, oh, that's dope. I want to do that, you know, and be good at everything. But then, like as you get older, the other expression that came to haunt me was like being a jack of all trades and a master of none. I'm like, oh no, that's not what I want to be. I've grown to firmly believe in doubling down on your strengths. Most importantly, I think if you had to choose, I would say that, because I think your strengths are the things that, the God-given thing that makes you different than other people, right? Mm-hmm. And being able to really tap into that will overshadow those other things.
Yeah.
So I think when you become known for something you do, etc., then you start getting onto those weaknesses and rounding out your game. And I think, you know, athletes are a great example of this because, you know, you look at an athlete going into a professional league, like early 20s, even maybe in basketball before 20, 18, 19. And obviously they're not a perfect all-around player, but they might be good at everything, but they have certain key strengths, you know, and those strengths are what get them into the league. And then to have a career, they start, you know, improving them and eliminating the weaknesses. Yeah.
That's a really good point with thinking about a sporting event and the coaches. They're placing the players based off of their strengths, not on their weaknesses. Well said. I don't have any more questions.
No, that's good. She doesn't have any more questions. We're good. All right. Nailed it. That was legit. All right, cool. So we're going to finish shooting now, and we'll report back at the end. Now it's recording. Sorry. Take 3. You can see how natural you can keep it.
Right. We're wrapped. We did it. How do you think today went?
I think it went very well. Like I had mentioned earlier, I feel like we nailed the looks we wanted to go for, right?
Yeah.
And then learned a little bit about how each one works, which I think is the most important thing. It's like knowing how and why things are done the way they are. So like you can recreate a setup, but if you don't like understand why it's set up that way, then you won't be able to like use it again. So I felt like we were picking that up. I mean, I know you're not setting stuff up, but how did it feel on your end to
I
try
thought
the
today
stuff?
was great. I would argue that a model's favorite moment on set is like the first 2 shots when the photographer is just testing things out, and a model knows she can do whatever she wants. She can stick her tongue out and make a funny face, and there's no pressure, and that's kind of our moment to shine, and we love that. And today was an entire day of those first 2 shots, and I loved it.
Nice. And we got some stuff. We were even mixing in some. We had a crack of light through the window on Maddie's clothes that we used for a shot where we did a little shutter drag, and that became like a cool spot for it. So
I think that ended up being my favorite shot of the whole day.
Yeah, look at that. It just working with what happened, which we just couldn't totally hermetically seal our windows to be black. So we got a spot and we worked with it. And I think that's the stuff you don't always get to do on set, which is why this was so cool to do. So I'm excited to show you guys what we captured. It was very cool. And you know, encourage you guys to do the same. Take some time for yourselves, even when it seems really busy, to, you know, just create, take the pressure off and just play. But also when you are not busy, this is how you get busy. You know, you plan shoots and things for yourself where you try things out, and then that helps you know, attract the people you want to attract, etc. So stay shooting, and we'll catch you guys later. Thank you, Maddie.
That was great.
All right, it's a wrap. Let's do this.
Oh, that was so